Hey everyone, so just a quick update. 2 weeks ago today, I actually damaged my Achilles tendon, or well, they say ruptured, right? But it's damaged anyway. And so the last 2 weeks I've been in this orthopedic boot, and it's been just a process of just resting and recovery. A moment now where they say I can't put any weight on my actual foot, so I'm going around on crutches. So that's my story. Right now I am in the injured list and I'm injured. So I just thought I'd do this video to update you guys and also outline some content that'll be coming out later, just based on what I'm going through and also just different thoughts and stuff which I've had. So today we're talking about injuries because that is what I'm experiencing. So I'll be off the mats for the foreseeable few weeks anyway, at least. But I'm not looking at the longevity. You can do your own research and maybe your own experience as well in terms of if you've had any Achilles injuries or anything like that yourself, you can have a look and research yourself, and then maybe even comment down below how you've been through your serious injuries. But today I'm going to be speaking about injuries anyway, and so how do injuries happen? Well, injuries are an inevitable part of sport and contact sport, to say the least, and so injuries are just one of those things which we will have, whether it's minor injuries or serious injuries. I think I still think that injuries are preventable. Injuries can be reduced, much like if you're in the industries of risk assessment and all that sort of things. You can put control measures in to reduce the likelihood and severity of serious injuries. And so, two things I would say would be probably the main components of that would be gym culture and training mindset. Gym culture, for starters. If you have a culture where everyone's just trying to hurt each other and everyone's trying to win and everyone's trying to one up each other, then that's going to be an environment which is going to be more likely to see injuries. And those types of injuries are mostly preventable, and they're just a culture. And what I mean by culture, culture is the environment which makes certain things more likely to happen in terms of excess. So, for example, if you have a calm culture, then you're more likely to have calming environments. Much like if you go to a really nice, relaxed restaurant, you're not likely to hear Iron Maiden on the radio, yeah, because it's not conducive to the culture and the environment. And so, culture, gym culture, is one of those things which can make injuries worse if they have a gym culture where everyone's trying to win, everyone's trying to go 100% and that sort of thing. And also the training mindset, like how you go into your training could affect the injuries in which happens as well. Like if you go into the mats with something to prove, if you go into the purposes of winning or get the tap outs or whatever it is, the maximum one rep, whatever it is that you're training, if you go in with that mentality that you're trying to get the best, you're trying to win, then that environment or that attitude makes injuries more likely as well. And in terms of my case, I wouldn't say like my mindset was particularly bad. Our gym culture is pretty good, probably one of the better I've definitely seen anywhere, where nobody is really in that place where it's like, yeah, you get a few times and people, yes, are competitive, but all by and large, it's not a place where you have to fear injuries. In my case, what happened was I was just moving and sparring, and it was the very last round of what we were doing, and then I moved awkwardly, and then I fell down. It felt like somebody hit me, but it was actually just my Achilles tearing or whatever it was. So it wasn't from impact or anything like that, and it wasn't because anyone was going too hard, and certainly nothing that I couldn't manage. And it was that just randomness which happens, which sometimes happens in sport, right? But in terms of the mindset, my mindset going into it was, well, I'm not really trying to win. I've been doing, martial arts and whatnot for a long time. So like while it's been sporadic, it's never been something which I'm not used to. And I've never gone into a role thinking I must get this tap or I must get this submission. There's very few, even at my level, that I haven't done myself or haven't seen. And so it's not necessarily something which I go out to the mat to do. And so my training partners, and you've seen in my videos as well, that I'm not actually out there trying to beast and win and to crush and And so it's not really my style. And in terms of, the striking aspect, more playful, more technical, more kind of like savvy. And I definitely do not put anything into my punches and kicks, for sure. And so that's not really my mindset. But say one thing about mindset was that I thought, and it wasn't bad until, well, now I've got to kind of adapt it. But when it came to certainly rolling and sparring to a degree, like I wouldn't take rounds off. I would always like be rolling if I could. Every single round there was rolling and sparring on. I'd roll every single round, and if I got tired, it's because I overexerted myself or whatever it was. And so I would train myself to be able to take active rest, and you've seen that in a lot of certain things. So active rest is basically how you can rest while being active. And so if I feel that I went too hard in one round and I'm tired, I wouldn't take a round off. I would just say, well, I'm just going to have to take the next round easier, or I'm going to try and maintain myself in that role, okay? I hope that kind of makes sense, but it's active rest, that's how we do it. Also, what I would do is I would never choose or pick training partners. I would never pick my training partners, and that means I'm not trying to get an easy role, I'm not trying to get something, right? If somebody said, you want to roll? I'll say, yeah. Like, I'm not ever in that sense intimidated or deterred from training with anyone, and so that's kind of my mindset. So I wouldn't take rounds off, but then again I would go at a pace where I knew I could maintain. I wouldn't go like, probably my average rolling pace would probably be about 50 or 60% average, and so it'd be very few times it would go above that, but a lot of times below. And that served me quite well, and I maintained myself certainly in the grappling aspects as well. But with that as well, not taking rounds off, pushing my body as for sure. And while I'm resisting, I'm also getting resistance, and so I'm constantly under resistance, and I'm taking less rest, which is great for conditioning. But then now I'm in this injured state. I might have to reevaluate that for when I go back to the mat. So gym culture and training mindset would be the biggest mindsets or biggest attributes towards increasing injuries. So if you're injured, or now you're injured, now what? So there's a few things where I've been injured before, granted not this severely, or should I say, it's like a tipping point. It could be good, could be bad, whatever. I'm not even thinking about that right now. But what I am thinking of is what I can do now that I'm injured. And so one of the things I'm thinking of is not to focus on what I necessarily want, but what I can do and what I should do. So not focusing, it's not about what I want. It's what I can do and what I should do. So what I mean by that when I was thinking that is, like I've been injured, I kind of want to have a pity party. I kind of want to wish that, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is real, and I could just grab the Eye of Agamotto and turn the time back to before this happened, and then just not spar that round, or not spar that day. And this wouldn't have happened. I kind of want to, pick out, I want to like think, well, this happened, and not saying that I've never done those things, but I found that thinking that way hasn't actually helped me any. And so it's not about what I want. I really want to get back to the mats. I really want to return to being able to, to play with my kids in the same manner I did. Pick them up, take them to the park, whatever. And now that's not so possible or easy. And so it's not about necessarily what I want, because that's not helpful. But what can I do? What exercises can I do? What can I do right now? And then also with the possibilities. What should I do? Now this is about wisdom. Okay, so maybe I can do certain exercises, and it's no coincidence that in my YouTube feed, heaps of stuff about Achilles, stuff has come up, and exercise you can do with this specific boot. People have been wearing the boot, doing these HIIT exercises, wearing my boot, and now this stuff's come up, and so I can do those. But should I? And so that's things which now, an element of thinking which I've added. Now it's like, well, should I do these things? Maybe I can, but should I? So this is about what's wise to do for where I am. And so that's where now I need to be patient. So don't focus on what you want, but what you could do and what you should. Also, keep your mind engaged. Partly why I'm doing these videos is to keep my mind engaged, keep my mind in that mode of training. Because while I may not be in a place where I can physically improve my motor skills, I can improve my mindset in the game. And so there's less of a gap between where I was in terms of physically and where I could be in terms of improvement. And so I'm thinking about things, I'm keeping my mind engaged, I'm figuring out and maybe diagnosing things which I've struggled with currently and things I'm working on. And so now I can think and troubleshoot them in my mind, and then I can visualize, or I can put my body into those situations. And I've been doing this a long time now, um, unlike the belt level would suggest. And so I could put myself in those positions without actually being in the positions. And so, or I can have a decent crack at it anyway. And I've done that before, where I've had long spells off and come back and I haven't missed in a step. And now, maybe slightly longer, I'll do that again. So, but I'm keeping my mind engaged. I want to be able to think like a martial artist, just as I would be practicing. And so that's one of the things, keeping your mind engaged, one thing to do. One thing I'm trying to do as well, staying positive and not completely pigging out because I'm not training. And so, there's things I'm trying to keep up my water intake, my diet, and not completely vegging out because I don't need conditioning to last the mats, and rolling or sparring, anything like that. And so, I'm trying to keep the diet decent enough, like not like vegan or keto or whatever, but it's decent enough just for where I am, and not going too overboard in snacks or anything like that just because I'm on the couch. And also with that as well, and with the temperament and keeping my mind engaged, the being patient and being wise. And so I'm not trying to rush anything. The kind of injury in which I've got is not something you can rush, and I'm not trying to prove myself or not trying to make up for lost time. That boat sailed a long time ago, and so my goals are realistic. I do this because I enjoy it, not because I want to be the next I don't know, Jack Shore or Conor McGregor or Cyril Gane or whatever else. It's not that kind of goal, which is healthy when it comes to you returning and being patient with your recovery and obeying the things which the physios and all that say to do. And so they are kind of my tidbits for being injured. But hey, let me know what you think. What happened in your serious injuries? How long have you had layoffs, and how did you recover from them? For me, I'm trying to stay positive. I'm trying to keep my mind engaged doing these videos and other things like that as well. I'm not completely neglecting the diet, but also what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on what I can do and what I should do, and not obsess and beat myself up over, or be overwhelmed with what I want. Like, yes, we all want to get back. Yes, we all want to return to the mats. Yes, we all want to be better. Yes, we all want this injury to have never happened. We want to be better than new. We all want that, but it's more helpful to think of, what can I do? How can I assist and give myself the best odds and chances and health of recovery? And what should I do? So what's good for my body? Should I be stressing myself out like this? Should I take it easier? Should I be more consistent with things that the physios, etc., are giving me to work? And so hope you guys have found that helpful. I will be back on the mats at some point, to tell my wife, and I will be training. But before that, we'll be seeing videos and other content, and will be put online for you. So podcast, commentaries, and other like videos. And so I hope you've enjoyed this content. You can comment, give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next content videos.